An Inspector Calls was originally shown on schools television and will be transmitted again this autumn term in the series English. Now on BBC1, Esther Rantzen reports on 24 Hours in the Life of the London Zoo.
Nighttime at London Zoo. In man-made caves of wire and cement, the animals are asleep. The jungles and wilderness they came from are just dreams now. But in the cold hours before dawn, in a London suburb, a greengrocer tycoon is off to work. Jack Ryle had his own chain of shops.
An Inspector Calls was originally shown on schools television and will be transmitted again this autumn term in the series English. Now on BBC1, Esther Rantzen reports on 24 Hours in the Life of the London Zoo.
Nighttime at London Zoo. In man-made caves of wire and cement, the animals are asleep. The jungles and wilderness they came from are just dreams now. But in the cold hours before dawn, in a London suburb, a greengrocer tycoon is off to work. Jack Ryle had his own chain of shops and a gold Rolls Royce. Now at 70, he could easily afford to retire. Instead, he goes to Spitalfields Market to buy fruit and vegetables for the zoo. This morning he needs lettuce for the monkeys, pears for the porcupine, special sweet carrot for the okapi. They're as choosy as any of his old customers in Golders Green. To him, it's still fun.
I like this trade so much because it's so sexy.
Why's that?
Well, there's sex of cabbage, sex of carrots, sex of everything. I mean, you can't get away from it. That's what keeps me so young.
Is that an old greengrocer's joke?
No, that's one of Jack's own.
Don't you find at Spitalfields, when they know you're buying it for animals, they give you the rubbish?
Oh, well inclined to do that. Do you know there's more monkeys in Spitalfields than there is in Regent's Park, with 1 or 2 gorillas amongst them?
Peter Dillingham's a keeper in the monkey house and brings his work home with him. A sleepy orphan chimpanzee baby called Benji, 4 months old.
Was it lively this morning?
Yeah, probably been awake for a little while.
Spitalfields Market. The zoo has £1,000 a week to spend here. It's a tight budget, but Jack's in his element. He knows every trader, and he's on his guard with one of them.
Why'd you do that?
Yes, just to make sure that they're not cased up, so that they're all sound.
What's cased up?
Well, it's a trade expression that they're cased up, just made better than they are. Are they the same over the road? I don't want to go over there if there's anything dodgy.
Exactly the same.
They're the same. They'll be
Exactly the same.
All right. If they're not all sound like that, I shall have to back them.
Yeah,
Right?
we'll all be like that, sir.
Right. What are you going to do with them?
Charge a pound note,
I should say 75 back.
80 pound.
75.
80p.
80 you're on, right. How much are these come out?
260.
And these?
480, a bit too
480,
dear for your
260,
price, yeah.
bloody near half the price. I'll take a few of these smalls. That's how I get me living. I do a bit of spiffing. I'm only a barrow boy.
7:30. The lorry arrives from the zoo.
The monkeys throw 'em back at me, don't they? Oh, yeah, it's all right. There's no heat in them. There's no heat in them. They'll be just about right. Nice condition, yes.
Okay.
That'll do. Yes, okay.
Yeah, okay.
18 by 28. But have a look at these, Simon. They don't look too hot to me.
There's a furry one down there.
Jack's suspicions were right. The carrots were cased up. These aren't the ones he saw.
Jack,
Yeah.
have you seen this one?
Yeah, and here.
And there.
Simon, I'll pay the porterage on them. No good, they're all fluffy. He told me they was like I shot out. I said to him, I said, they'll be like that, won't they? He said, yeah, they're the same. They're the same, they're not. My fanny, they're not. Well, to kill all the bloody animals?
What next?
We go round and get them fresh carrots, new carrots, eh? Sorry, 56. You're right, sorry, Tom. 56.
Are they any better?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Why is it worth taking all this trouble?
Well, if I took them back and they had that fluff on, like you saw on the previous lot, now tomorrow morning, the veterinary surgeon will come round to me and he'll say, Mr. Roll, have you seen those carrots? I say, yes. He said, well, we don't want them. They're not fit for the animals. Would you eat them? I say, well, I'd have to cut them about a bit. He said, well, the animals can't cut them about. Therefore, we can't have them. I say, right, I'll back them. So I send them all back.
You said there were monkeys down here.
Monkeys down here. There's more monkeys here than there is at Regent's Park, and 1 or 2 gorillas in among them. I can promise you that. And I had them off of a gorilla this morning. I ought to know better at my age.
The working day begins. Keepers, gardeners, plumbers for the penguin pool, builders for the concrete mountain range. At 8 o'clock they all clock in, and 8,000 animals begin their working day. It isn't easy to persuade a gawer.
Come on, kid. Come on!
The huge, rare, bad-tempered wild bull and his mate have to squeeze through the doors and fight their way out into the day. They weigh a ton each, and they're rough.
Go. You go outside. Come on, Bimbo. Jane, honey. Mandy, come on. Come on, Mandy. Mandy. Come on, Mandy. Come on. That's a good girl, that's it.
Here, in 36 acres in Regent's Park, the word zoo was invented. It was founded 150 years ago to study new and curious subjects of the animal kingdom. Science came first. The public were let in later to pay for it. Zookeeping's an expensive business. 1 million visitors last year, but still £1 million loss. And the higher the price, the fewer the visitors. But still they come to see those new and curious animals, so close they can almost touch.
Oh, there's the baby poking out. Can you see his ear? Come on, then. Oh, dear. Oh, we should have brought a carrot.
It's breakfast time for Suka, a mother orangutan.
Suka, come on. Come and see me. It's a nice lady to see you. Look. No, that's it. Hold hands nicely. You sit down beside her there. There you are. It's a nice lady.
Like people?
Yes, sure. And you're going to feed her with this
Am I?
Ribena and Ferax.
You've got a most lovely
I can
baby.
just about see it.
When Suka was a baby, she was hand-reared at home by George Callard, the head keeper, and they're still very close.
I wouldn't say she was tame, I'd say she was more or less under control. You can have a dog, can't you, that is quite fierce, but when you're with it and your friends are with it, it's quite good. The orangutans are the same. They're never really tame. One never knows what they're going to do.
And she's big.
And she's quite big and she's very, very powerful. She doesn't look all that powerful, but she is. I have a sort of affinity with this orang, seeing as it was at home for 10 months as well. And I never really thought she would rear this baby. I thought she'd be a bit silly.
She seems to be taking the spoon.
She wants to help herself.
Is that allowed?
That's a naughty girl, Suka. You shouldn't do that. No. Go on, let's see if you're clever enough to get some out of the pot.
Can you get some of the pot?
Eh? What are you doing with that baby? That baby's...
Thanks.
Ah, see, you're a lazy old devil, aren't you?
What qualities does it take to be a good ape keeper?
Well, you've got to have a lot of compassion, probably, dedication, and you've got to respect the animal. You don't have to love the animal at all. None of these monkeys and apes, there's no need to love them.
George, you love this orangutan.
Well, all right then, I love this orangutan. But strictly speaking, you mustn't nick Esther's bag. No, that's a naughty girl. Yes, she is very nice, orangutan, I will admit that.
Now, to a lot of people, this looks like a rather, thank you so much, a rather terrifying, orange-haired, extremely powerful beast.
Yes, and that really is what it could be.
But what do you see when you look at her?
I see a very loving mother, someone who likes me quite a lot, and who likes the fellas in the house quite a lot. They don't take kindly to strangers, I will admit. If you can't leave them with strangers. But I see a very nice animal. And I'm very fond of orangs anyway. I think they're the finest animals in the world.
You think this is the best house in the zoo?
I certainly do, yeah. And so a lot of other people's.
Is this the most popular with the public?
I think so.
When you see people looking at an animal like this, what do you hope they're getting out of it, George?
Well, I should hope they're getting pleasure out of it and some sort of education out of it. The public tend, though, in my experience, to just laugh at animals, laugh at the apes and monkeys completely.
Yes.
I have a great affinity with these animals. I respect them. And I don't really want them to do what I tell them to do. I like them to go their own way. That's a beautiful baby you got there, Suki. Let Esther touch your baby. That's lovely. Isn't that nice? Doesn't let everybody touch that.
That's because you're here, isn't it?
Yeah.
9:30. Jack Ryle unloads the lorry, ferociously inspected by Bill Thornton. Bill's in charge of all the stores, an ex-stoker in the Royal Navy. He can still whip up quite a storm when he's not pleased. Like if you suggest the animals might not be worth all the care Jack takes to pick out their food.
Are you any idea what these animals are worth? Eh? We've got about 60 million people in this country. We've got about 2 okapis and we've got about 2 pandas.
Oh, by the way, I've got special
Which is worth
carrots.
the bother.
I've got special carrots for the okapi. True, because the first lot of carrots we bought were old and they were a bit dodgy, so we sent them all back and I had to get special ones for the okapi.
My God, can you imagine what we're going to pay for them?
Look,
Can
yeah,
you imagine what we're
I'll tell
going
you
to
what
pay?
you're going to pay for them, mate. You're going to pay £3.40 a bag for them.
How much?
£3.40, I can't help it, Bill. The others weren't good enough for the okapi anyway.
Here, listen, this time last year I was buying a truckload for that, £3.40.
Yes, I reckon the truck must have broke down with the weight of them.
With his 37 years' experience at the zoo, Bill's pantry's full of surprises. Vitamin powder for the ostriches, dog food for the iguanas, bamboo from Sussex, Fair-X for the baby chimps, and grown-up monkeys stay regular.
Now, you see these peas?
Yes.
And you see it's got on them processed.
Yeah.
Now, they go to the aquarium for the big fish. And they have to be processed. There's another unusual thing, look, jam. That blackcurrant jam. Now, if they have to worm the bears, they get a loaf of bread, they put a big spoonful of jam inside the bread, they put the worm tablet inside the jam, then we get no bother with the bears. Clever?
Sponge fingers?
Yes,
Why?
because the parrots like sponge fingers. Now, where they come from, in their part of the forest, they probably got sponge fingers hanging on the trees. But they do. We send 10 packets of them to the parrots every week to keep them happy.
Does the quality really matter all that much?
Does the quality really matter? We must only have the best. That's definite.
Ten o'clock, an emergency. A kudu, a rare, beautiful African antelope, has suddenly collapsed in her den. They rush her to the zoo hospital so that the vet, John Knight, can find out what's wrong with her.
What's wrong, John?
It just collapsed. It had just been fed. Collapsed on the floor. Nobody saw it happen. It was in by itself, and nothing was changed from the normal procedure. So we honestly don't know what's happened or what's caused it. All we know is that it went on the floor and was kicking with its legs.
What's that?
This is something to try and get the heart going a bit better. The animal is fairly shocked. Right, fairly bruised. Not a very happy little thing, are you? There's no sign in the others in the group. They're all perfectly well at the moment.
What could it be?
Well, it could be an infection that is very, very acute and has just knocked it off its legs. We've taken one blood sample. Someone could whip that round to Christine. It could be that she has broken the leg, which is a bit of a disaster in a kudu. They've got very delicate legs. I think we would just x-ray that skull too. It may be that she's clobbered her head by maybe bringing it up rather sharply under something, having been eating, so we better check and see.
So she could just have knocked herself out?
Could have done. But there's lots of possibilities, and what we've got to do at the moment is to reduce those possibilities, at least.
What's
or
she
you hope
worth?
to get there. I don't know. Any idea, Jeff? How much this one would be worth?
She's worth a lot to us.
Right, well, what we're going to do then is take some x-rays. We'll have to ask people to move out of the way.
It's not good news. She's somehow poleaxed herself and fractured her skull.
Well, the question now is whether we just try and relieve the swelling that we're going to get around there with drugs, or whether we just do a little bit of brain surgery, and that's certainly one of the possibilities. I haven't made up my mind yet. We'll see how we respond. Not on a kudu before, no. But what we might do is we might just chip away that bit of bone there, which is the bit that's depressed, and just lift it off,
What are the chances of her surviving?
Limited.
You think she may have had it?
But we may go ahead and try and save her. As I say, she's worth a lot to the keepers. They're one of my favourite antelope too. So we'll see what we can do. But it's poor prognosis.
You look very upset.
Not too happy.
It could be the hors d'oeuvre trolley at the Ritz. In fact, it's the Small Mammal House, and Bill James is the chef in charge, holder of the record there, the fastest apple chopper.
You never lose a finger.
Sometimes, if I stick them back on.
Over in the kitchen at the Birdhouse is his nearest rival, his brother, Alec James.
Alec, your brother holds the record for the fastest apple.
He cuts them the fastest, but I hold the record for cutting them the thinnest.
Some of their customers are terribly picky, but not all.
Well, I should think the porcupines are the easiest. They will eat virtually anything that goes in pennies, people throw into there, logs. You put a log in and it's half gone in the morning. And if you forget and leave a broom or your shovel in there, that'll also disappear very quickly. The metal bits are left, but the wood just, there's a load of pieces lying on the floor.
The zoo has made up special scientifically balanced meat with everything you'd find if you ate a zebra, and pellets with all the right minerals and vitamins, a kind of convenience food for animals.
The idea was that you'd start using these foods because they would be cheap and efficient and clean. But what happens is you start to put it into the trays and you start to sort of wean them off of eating fruit and things, and you find the animals are completely bored with it and they don't like it. So we then started putting fruit back on.
Did they actually stop eating then?
Well, to a point, you know, they sort of all sit around moaning and sort of just having a little nosh at piece here and there. It's quite obvious they weren't very pleased with it.
What is that interesting moving dish?
Mealworms. As we put the tray into the cage, we'll just put a few of these on each tray.
Like so many high-class kitchens, the zoo breeds cockroaches, thousands of them, and 250,000 locusts to feed the shrews and the potoroos and the lizards, who only believe their food is fresh enough to eat if they can see it hop. So the insect house breeds a plague of locusts every year to feed big birds and little monkeys and the exquisite desert fox. After all, like humans trapped in an aeroplane seat or patients in a hospital, after a while food is the only cure for boredom. Once a week, they open up a can of worms from Newcastle for the kiwi. And once a week, the boa constrictor has his lunch and always collects a crowd. "11 o'clock. Sebastian, the 2-year-old giraffe, is about to have a munch of hay, as he's done for the last 2 weeks, in a rather strange box his keeper Jeff built just outside the door. He doesn't know it, but it's his last morning at London Zoo. The box is really 3 sides of a wooden package to take him to Dublin Zoo. Now they must quickly slide in the 4th wooden side of the box before Sebastian gets worried or decides to go back indoors or panics and hurts himself. They cover him up so he can feel safe in the dark and keep cool. It is pretty cool to grab a bite from a keeper's shirt while he's too busy to notice. Sebastian's quite happy. All they've got to do now is balance his box on a forklift truck, get him across the paddock and over a moat in front of an audience without tipping him over or into the water.
Ron, if your bloke put a bit of weight on that corner...
Well, I'll tell you what I could do is I could get them out and then go underneath and then lift it.
Good try. What? Go and try that.
No, is it against the wall, like the other side? Yeah, hard against it. Oh, is it? Oh, well, it won't make any difference then, will it?
Where's all your men? Where's all the strong men?
Come on, come on, come on.
Come on.
Come on, you have to lift the back first. Put back on each side.
If you lift it from here,
I think
it might be easier because this way it's going to push it over that way. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if the animal lifts its weight that way.
No, if it's all right with you, it's fine.
All the big zoos swap animals these days. It guards them against inbreeding, and it means they can get rid of animals they have no space to keep. Sadly for Sebastian, male giraffes are 2 a penny, so he's lucky to be offered a comfortable home in Dublin Zoo when he gets there. The machines have failed. Overseer Ron Willis is the only hope now.